Welcome to the end of the line. This is a new series here on the channel where we're taking some Pokemon that can evolve and we're starting with their final form. That means there's no evolution throughout the run and we can see just how better, or in some cases worse, the run will be. And we're kicking off this series with Omastar. I started with Generation 2, so I never had a chance to play with the fossil Pokemon when I was a kid. Let's see what I was missing out on. And welcome along everybody to a brand new series here on the channel. This is the end of the line. You've just heard a brief description of what it is, and this is sort of a revival of the old Just the Battle series. That concluded nearly 2 years ago, and I thought how fitting would it be to bring back an old series by bringing back 2 old Pokemon. The first 2 videos in this series are going to be Omastar and Kabutops, and today we're starting with Omastar. Now this should be quite a fun run. The Omanyte run isn't particularly enjoyable because you start with just Constrict and Withdraw, but we have Bite on the learn set because we are fully evolved, and that will mean we're in a much better position to get started on this run and get that leg up that Omanyte doesn't have. Our first encounter is a level 3 Wild Pidgey, and it goes down in just 2 bites. Of course, the first major battle we have of the run is going to be against the rival, and it's a no-brainer as to which Pokemon the rival's going to have this time. We've got that 4 times weakness to grass the entire way through the run, so he's going to have Chikorita. It was no issue in this particular battle though, of course, because he doesn't have a grass type move, and we can move on to Falkner, our first gym together, a flying type specialist who leads with Pidgey. Now the problem with a rock type is that Falkner is going to prioritise Mud Slap. That means our accuracy drops, and we got very lucky there to get through without any of our moves missing. We get the Zephyr Badge in 5 minutes and 7 seconds, and we can move on to Azalea Town where Bugsy is waiting for us. We have the type advantage over the bug type, but we don't have a rock move on our learn set until level 54 by level up, so that means we're going to have to rely on Bite. Bite isn't particularly great against the Scyther, but we more than comfortably get through, surviving with over half our health, and we obtain the Hive Badge in 11 minutes and 46 seconds. We can't celebrate for too long though, because Rival 2 is just around the corner, and this time he's going to have a Razor Leaf. This has the potential to be a very tricky battle. We're going to have to rely on those flinches from Bite and hoping for the best. So let's see how we get on. We get poisoned on turn 1, we take damage from Bite on turn 2, but we were holding the berry, so we're surviving on 20 HP, a critical hit knocks out the Zubat, and we get through without a single reset. That is incredibly rare for a 4 times weak to grass Pokemon. So let's keep this momentum up for Whitney. She starts off with a Clefairy and her double slap misses, so we can go straight onto the Miltank. Miltank outspeeds us with Stomp, but we get a very lucky critical hit. That makes Whitney not sure what she wants to do, and we can bite her a couple more times to knock her out, and we get the Plain Badge in 18 minutes and 32 seconds. Let's now move onwards and upwards to the Burnt Tower, where Rival 3 is waiting for us. Yet again, we're going to have some issues here with the third rival battle, because he does, of course, have that Razor Leaf on his learn set. Now you may notice we don't have Hidden Power Ice. That was a conscious decision because I knew we could 2-shot the Bayleaf, and the chances are Bayleaf is going to use a status move turn number 1. That means we get perfect DVs, and that should help the rest of the run go very smoothly. So we get through Rival 3 with no issues in a time of just over 28 minutes, and we can fall through the floor and engage Morty in battle. We've got Hidden Power Dark for this occasion, and we're also holding the Mince Berry, so I think this might be a foregone conclusion. Even if the Gengar sends us to sleep, it should be more than comfortably a 2-shot. So we use Hidden Power on turn 1, and it's a 1-shot. We didn't even need the berry. Then we can move on to the final Haunter, we knock it out, and we obtain the Fog Badge in 30 minutes and 14 seconds. Let's move on to Jasmine. Jasmine is, of course, our 5th gym leader together. She's a Steel-type leader who leads with 2 Magnemites with incredibly low special defense. Both of those go down to a single Surf, and then Steelix, of course, is going to be weak to Surf. Our incredibly high special attack knocks it out in 1, and we obtain the Mineral Badge in 33 minutes and 19 seconds. We'll cross the ocean now and have a little chat with Chuck. He's the fighting type specialist who leads with Primeape. This could be one of our most dangerous battles, you know. We don't have anything particularly great for the Poliwrath, so we're going to be relying on Headbutt doing flinches. So we use Headbutt on turn 1 against the Poliwrath and it flinches, Dynamic Punch misses on turn 2, But then Dynamic Punch lands on turn 3 and we're holding the wrong berry, so we get knocked out. It really is a catch-22 situation with which berry to hold in Chuck, because he can go either way. He can go Hypnosis or he can go Dynamic Punch, and we've not yet discovered a way to predict which of the two he's going to do. On our second attempt though, we did get through and we obtained the Storm Badge in 33 minutes and 46 seconds. Let's move on to Price, the Ice-type specialist who leads with Seal. We still don't have an Ice-type move on the learn set, but we should be more than capable of knocking out all 3 of his Pokemon. We are going to have to headbutt the Dugong and hope it flinches just like that. We can finish it off with a Surf, and then we can Surf on the Piloswine to knock it out in 1. And then after declining the quite frankly abysmal Spike Cannon, we obtain our 7th badge in a time of 42 minutes and 51 seconds. Our next key battle, of course, is going to be the rival in the Goldenrod Underground, and this time he's going to lead with Golbat. We're still lacking a Rock-type move, so we're going to have to use our best moves instead. Surfs a one-shot on the Golbat and the Magnemites, we grow to level 43, and here comes that pesky Meganium. We've got Icy Wind from Price, and that's almost but not quite a one-shot. Poison Powder fails though, so we can knock it out in 2 hits. Surf's a simple one-shot on the Haunter, and then we can finish off the Sneasel with a Surf as well. That was not a challenging battle at all, and we're through the 4th rival battle in 49 minutes and 50 odd seconds. Let's now move on to our 8th and final Jotonian gym battle. This is Claire, the Dragon-type specialist who leads with 3 Dragonair. There is a 5% chance of Icy Wind missing against any of these Dragonair, but we got incredibly lucky and hit every single time. That means we can turn our attention to Kingdra. We're going to use a few returns against Kingdra and get her into a healing loop, and hopefully that will be enough to knock her out without taking too much damage at all. We survive on just under half health to defeat Claire, and then we obtain the Rising Badge in 56 minutes and 43 seconds. Considering we have a lot of downfalls as a Rock-type Pokemon here, I'm incredibly impressed with Omastar. Now, it can't just be me. Am I the only one that thought that Omastar would have been able to learn Earthquake? You could probably see that I started heading towards the Earthquake TM, but then very soon realised it's not actually on the learn set. So we're going to have to deal with Rival 5 without an Earthquake, and this time we get a lucky Icy Wind critical hit against the Meganium. That's the last time we have to think about the rival's Meganium, and that provides a huge sense of relief. We can one-shot all of the rest of his Pokemon, and we get through the final rival battle in 1 hour, 1 minute and 35 seconds. And now, we're at the Pokémon League, so we're going to heal up whether we need it or not, and we'll say thank you to the HM friends. So it's a big thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and to Paris. You've all been a great help in the Johto region get some well-deserved rest, as Omastar takes on the Pokémon League. We will of course buy our full restores, we'll either need them or we won't. And then just before we head into the league, we'll stop and take a look at our stats. We are level 52 with 166 HP. We are holding the Scamulet coin, and our 4 moves are Surf, Hidden Power Dark, Icy Wind, and Return. And in terms of our stats, we have 106 in attack, 168 in defense, 162 in special attack, 115 in special defense, and 98 in speed. Those are the outer battle stats. We will get a big boost, as we'll see now, against Will. He's our first league member, and he leads with Xatu. We use Surf against the first Xatu, and it goes down in 1 shot, and he sends out Executor. We'll swap to Hidden Power Dark now for the majority of the rest of this battle because it's super effective against all of Will's Pokemon, and we even get a cheeky little critical hit against the Slowbro. That's most of his team down, there's just Jinx left to go, and as we know Jinx has no physical defense, so we knock it out with a single return, and we get through Will in a time of 1 hour, 2 minutes and 59 seconds. Koga's up next on the chopping block, let's see what he can do. We're probably going to get Ancient Power some point in this battle, and that would be incredibly handy for a couple of his Pokemon. We'll have to see if the levels work out in our favour. The first 3 Pokemon are very easy one-shots, and here comes the Venomoth. We knock the Venomoth out with a single Surf, and we grow to level 54. At this point, Hidden Power's served its purpose, so we change it for Ancient's Power, and that's going to be incredibly handy for a lot of these later League members. The only downfall is that it's only got 5 power points, so I try to conserve them for later on in the league. We finish off Crobat with Surf, and we can move on to Bruno. He's a fighting type specialist who's going to lead with Hitmontop. Now, Bruno has the potential to be incredibly dangerous. This battle is all about fishing for an Omni boost. There is absolutely no way in hell we're going to survive a cross chop from Machamp. and it's a 10% chance for an Omni boost, so it should in theory only take a couple of resets. However, we got incredibly unlucky. It took us 30 attempts with Ancient Power to get an Omni boost. It was absolutely ridiculous. A strategy that seemed foolproof definitely came undone here at Bruno. We're still on a very good time though now that we've got the Omni boost, and that means we can finish off the rest of Bruno's team without having to worry too much about cross chop. We did get into a bit of an argy-bargy with the Hitmontop here because it kept going underground as we were trying to hit it, but once we were through that we can one-shot the Hitmon League and then take a little bit of damage from Hitmonchan. That brings us onto that pesky Machamp and we surf it away in one single hit. And yes, he also has an Onyx, not worth talking about, it goes away straight away, and we grow to level 55. Let's see how we get on against Karen. We're using the Bitterberry strategy against Karen. It's worked for us very well in previous times, but a bit of a disaster happened. I didn't ether Ancient Power, so we take a reset and here we get confused. That's absolutely fine because we were holding the Bitterberry and we can move on to the Vileplume. We've got Icy Wind for the Vileplume, but it's not quite a one-shot and we end up paralysed. That is going to be a pain for the rest of this battle because now we're on a clock as well. We have two Pokemon that are weak to moves we've got. We've just got to make sure we're able to hit both of them. We do that against the Houndoom and we do that against the Murkrow. We knock them both out. And we defeat the Elites 4 in exactly 1 hour and 9 minutes. There's only one thing between us and the Hall of Fame now. It's time for Lance, the Liar with the Flyers, and he's going to lead with Gyarados. Now, I've got to be honest, our learn set is very stacked in our favour here. We've got moves for all of his Pokemon, so this, in theory, should be a very, very simple battle. We still have that 5% chance of Icy Wind missing, and that's why we're holding the Paralysed Cure Berry. As it matters though, we didn't need the Paralysed Cure Berry because we made contact on both of the turns where it was necessary. But then we fumble a little bit against the Aerodactyl. It flinches us a couple of times, so we're on relatively low HP for the Charizard. That's 4 times weak to Rock though, so it goes down in a single hit. And then we use Icy Wind once more against the Dragonite, we knock it out, we grow to level 57, and we are through the Pokémon League in a time of 1 hour 9 minutes and 59 seconds, and our Hall of Fame time is 1 hour 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Omastar has done incredibly well for itself in this first half, but there's still another 8 gym badges plus the red fight left to come. So don't you dare go anywhere, Kanto is next. And we rejoin the action here in Vermilion City, where the first thing we do in Kanto is the last thing we do in Johto. We're going to get another rare candy, this time from the chairman of the Pokemon Fan Club. With that safely tucked away in our pocket, we'll surf those whole 2 tiles and make our way into Lieutenant Surge's gym. He is of course our first Cantonian gym leader and he leads with Raichu. And now, even though we have the type disadvantage because we're the water type, our special attack is more than capable of one-shotting all of Surge's Pokemon. That meant we didn't have to do a route change and we can do our regular Kanto routing. But now, as the rest of the Cantonian gym leaders are going to be playing in the background, I want to talk to you a little bit about the old Just the Battles series and other series here on the channel that didn't quite stick. You may remember we had the Just the Battles series 2 years ago here on the channel, where we took a lot of high base stat Pokemon and a lot of fully evolved Pokemon and split them out onto a separate leaderboard. Now, I didn't really have a proper vision for what I wanted Just the Battles to be. It was very early into the life of this YouTube channel and I was still very much finding my feet with what I wanted to do. So I didn't really have the experience and the knowledge to know that I needed a long-term vision for that series in order for it to be enjoyable. And that's the difference between Just the Battles and here in the new series, The End of the Line, because we are running all the fully evolved Pokemon. And that means, unlike Just the Battles, we absolutely have a vision for the series. There's only one rule to be on this leaderboard. You need to be a final stage evolution from a Pokemon that can already evolve. That means that Pokemon like Lapras, Miltank, Aerodactyl, they're not going to be on this leaderboard, but anything that is the last stage of an evolutionary line will have a spot on this new leaderboard, which we're going to fill out over the upcoming weeks and months. At the moment, this is going to be a fortnightly series, so every 2 weeks we'll have a new Pokemon to add to this leaderboard. We're taking it nice and slowly at the moment because our main priority is still the main run leaderboard. We are going to have other videos every other week as well. At the moment I'm planning on trying to get back into Fire Red, and that was another series that didn't quite stick. It wasn't so much the gameplay in Fire Red I didn't enjoy, I just really did not enjoy editing it down. And I think part of the problem was I was trying to make it like a main run in Pokémon Crystal. Now that we're doing the much punchier edits for the main run leaderboard on Pokémon Crystal, I think I'm going to take that and bring it to Fire Red as well. That's going to make the videos a lot more enjoyable for me to narrate, and hopefully that will come across in being much more enjoyable for you lovely people to watch as well. In addition to that, I'm going to start learning Pokémon Emerald. I've got no promises to when our first Emerald run will be, but what I want to do is I want to have one Fire Red video a month and one Emerald video a month. That way we can slowly build up, and as we fill up the Generation 2 leaderboard, we can start transitioning into other generations, and then bring some redos back as special videos in Crystal to see just how much we can improve some of those earlier Pokemon times. They're not going to be streamed because I realised if I do a Pokemon on stream, it's likely going to get a 5 to 10 minute arbitrary penalty because my full focus isn't on the run. I have to split my focus between the run and between the stream chat, and that means I'm going to make more mistakes. And if you have any suggestions for any of the series I've just mentioned, now is the time to get them in the comments. I read every single comment, and before I start a series or fully commit to it, this really is the best time to get your feedback down below, because then I can incorporate it into the videos we're going to be doing together here on the channel. But now let's shift our focus back to the action as we're taking on Blue. He is our final gym leader of the run, and his Pidgeot is already fainted. Now, one thing that I did do as a bit of a misplay is I forgot to pick up Ice Beam from Goldenrod City on our way back from the League. Barring Erica, we don't come across too many grass types in the Cantonian section of the run though, so it didn't hinder us too much at all. And in fact, even with that pesky reset at Erica, we might still be on a quicker time than we otherwise would have been. And now that Gyarados is caught in a healing loop, the rest of Blue is going to be incredibly trivial. We don't need an Omni Boost with Ancient Power, but we're using it because it's the best move we have against the Gyarados. We can finish off the Arcanine with a single Surf, we grow to level 65, we decline the option to learn Hydro Pump, and we have all 16 badges in 1 hour, 26 minutes and 7 seconds. And now there is only one thing between us and our final time on the leaderboard. This is the first run on the leaderboard, so we're not playing for placements, we're just playing for time. It is of course the Red battle, and he leads with Pikachu. We don't outspeed Red on the first attempt, so we're going to have to try and hope for an Ancient Power Omni Boost, or for Thunder to miss. Doesn't happen on our first few attempts, so we grow up to level 68 and we try again. This time we still don't outspeed Red, but Charm misses and we try setting up instead against the Espeon. Espeon uses Reflect on turn 1 and then hits us very hard with Psychic on turn 2. We knock it out in 2 shots though, and here comes Venusaur. Venusaur would be much more of a threat if it used a single turn move. It uses Solar Beam, which is a 2-turn move, so it is already incredibly harmless. We are now playing for the freeze against the Snorlax. This is going to be our best way to get through because this Snorlax can paralyze us, and if Snorlax paralyzes us, it's going to be game over. It happens just there, and we use another 3 rare candies. We're now at level 71, let's see how we do. Charm misses on turn 1 and we knock it out with a single critical hit Ancient Power. I was kind of hoping for an Omni Boost there, but I'll take a knockout on the Pikachu any day of the week. We're on very low health though as we get our Omni Boost against the Espeon. The game has given, but it could also take away. Our health is very, very low. Because of the Omni Boost, we're able to one-shot the Venusaur, and we can at least see how the Snorlax is once more. We use Surf against the Snorlax because that's going to provide the greatest amount of damage on turn 1, and then we swap to Ice Beam. We get yet another lucky freeze. We start stalling with Ice Beam as much as we can to try and regain the health with leftovers. Blastoise is the most dangerous of the Pokemon left. We swap to Return, and Surf does very little damage. The only thing that can knock us out now is a critical hit, which doesn't happen, and that just leaves Charizard left to go. We've got an Ancient Power left in the bag. It's 4 times super effective. We knock it out in 1. We grow to level 72, and we get our first time on this leaderboard. 1 hour, 31 minutes and 27 seconds. That is a very, very respectable benchmark to start off this new leaderboard. By default it's in first place, and as we can see we've got plenty of slots to fill up on this leaderboard. I am incredibly excited about this series and I hope you are too. But with that, we are done. So I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please do remember to leave a like. If you've got anything at all to say, leave it in the comments down below. If you don't want to miss any of these runs, make sure to subscribe. And until next time in the end of the line, when it's Kabootop's turn, I will say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon.